No. Está ese pico hincado. Esa es la piratita de Culiacán. Denle gracias al pinche conductor. Y de aquí nos vamos aquí. Por acá. Eliminar jugadores a más de 50 metros de construcción. Es que miras pendejo replay. Dos rifles. Mi favorito. Hasta el más lejano se le ya y hay uno ahí abajo. Vamos por ese. Vamos a lootear ahí. ¿Para qué disparas? ¿Para qué disparas? Estamos bien. Adiós el güey. Que de repente hay unos bien locos y pues nada. Ese vato, por ejemplo, empezó a pegar. Ahí arriba. Lo veía. Las cámaras. Quedan 12. Que se me acabó. Lo sabía, perro. La misión que no puedo llevar. Saltacarones. Ajá. Entonces quedan 8. De hecho. Verga, ya me imaginaba muerto ya, güey. La verga. Bueno, mames. Nadie andaba aquí. Porque marca un cofre a 1000 metros. Es lo único de eso. Verga, se me acabó esa mierda. No tengo arma. No mames, me equivoqué de mierda, loco. No toquen esa puta. Y yo lo que quería era empujarlo para fuera de la zona, güey. Y se puso la pinche mierda. La pinche taquicardia. A ver, para que en laboratorio, por acá también.
To redefine the future from the minds of XAI. Prepare for this next generation lives that's it sees the unrealized, answers the unasked, and challenges the impossible. Unleash the truth, coming this season. Yeah, that's what it's here. This is the smartest AI in the world. I'm going to show you exactly how and why. And it really is remarkable to see the advancement of human, that's guys, that's vastly faster. Dimensional is that very well to residents. It's actually SAT, perfect SATs every time, even if it's never seen the questions before. And going beyond that, it's like graduate student exams like the GRE. It will get near perfect results in every discipline of education. So from the humanities to like languages, math, physics, engineering, pick anything, and we're building questions that it's never seen before. These are not on the internet, and Grok 4 is smarter than almost all graduate students in all disciplines simultaneously. Like it's actually just important to appreciate that's something. The reasoning capabilities of Grok are incredible. So there's some people out there who think AI can't reason. I think you reason so yeah, and frankly, it only gets better from here. So we'll take you through the Grok 4 release, and show you like the base of the progress here. I guess the first part is like in terms of the training, we're going from Grok 2 to Grok 3 to Grok 4 essentially training by an order of magnitude in each case. So it's about 100 times more training than Grok 3. That's the increase. So it's frankly, I don't know, in some ways a little terrifying, but the challenge this year is remarkable. It's important to realize there are two types of training compute. One is the pre-trained compute, that's from Grok 2 to Grok 3. But from Grok 3 to Grok 4, we're actually putting a lot of compute in reasoning in RL. Yeah, and just like you said, this is literally the fastest moving field. And Grok 2 is like the high school student by today's standard. If you look back in the last 12 months, Grok 2 was only a concept. We didn't even have Grok 2 12 months ago. And then by training Grok 2, that was the first time we scale up like the pre-training. We realized that if you have to do the data ablation really carefully, and infra, and also the algorithm, we can actually push the pre-training quite up to 10x. We call it the best pre-trained base model. And that's why we built Colossus, the world's supercomputer with 100,000 H100, and then with the best pre-trained model, and we realized if we like very high model before, we can actually train this model to start thinking from the first principle, start to reason and correct its own mistakes. And that's where the Grok 3 reasoning comes from. And today we're asking the question, what happens if you take the extension of Colossus with all 200,000 GPUs, put all these into IL, 10x more compute, and any of the models out there, unenforced learning, unprecedented scale, what's going to happen? So this is the story of Grok 4, and hopefully share some insight with all these. Let's talk about how smart Grok 4 is. So I guess we can start discussing this benchmark called Humanities Lab Exam. And this benchmark is a very, very challenging benchmark. Every single problem is curated by subject matter experts. It's in total 2,500 problems, and it consists of many different subjects: mathematics, natural sciences, engineering, and also all humanities subjects. So essentially, when it was first released, actually like earlier this year, most of the models out there can only get single-digit accuracy of this benchmark. Yeah, so we can look at some of those examples. So there's this mathematical problem which is about natural transformations in category theory, and there's this organic chemistry problem that talks about electro cyclic reactions, and also there's this linguistic problem that tries to ask you about distinguishing between closed and open syllabus from a Hebrew source text. So you can see also it's a very wide range of problems, and every single problem is PhD or even advanced research level problem. Yeah, I mean, there are no humans that can actually answer these, can get a good score. I mean, if you actually select any given human, what's the best that any human can score? I mean, I'd say maybe 5% optimistically. So this is much harder than what any human can do. It's incredibly difficult. You can see from the types of questions that you might be incredible in linguistics or mathematics or chemistry or physics or any one of a number of subjects, but you're not going to be at a postgrad level in everything. And Grok 4 is postgrad level in everything. Like it's just some of these things are just worth repeating. Like Grok 4 is postgraduate, like PhD level in everything. Better than PhD, but like most PhDs would fail. So it's better than, I mean, at least with respect to academic questions. I want to just emphasize this point. With respect to academic questions, Grok 4 is better than PhD level in every subject, no exceptions. Now, this doesn't mean that times may lack common sense, and it has not yet invented new technologies or discovered new physics, but that is just a matter of time. I think it may discover new technologies as soon as later this year, and I would be shocked if it is not done so next year. So I would expect Grok to, literally discover new technologies that are actually useful no later than next year, and maybe end of this year. And it might discover new physics next year, and within 2 years, I'd say almost certainly. So just let that sink in. Yeah. So so I guess we can talk about what's behind the scene of Grok 4. As Jimmy mentioned, we actually saw a lot of strings. When it started, it's only also a single digit. Sorry, the previous slide. Sorry. It's only a single digit number. But as you start putting in more and more training compute, it started to gradually become smaller and smaller, and eventually solve a quarter of the HLA problems. And this is without any tool. The next thing we did was add tools. And unlike Grok 3, I think Grok 3 actually is able to use tool as well, but here we actually make it more native in the sense that we put the tools into training. Grok 3 was only relying on generalization. Here, we actually put the tools into training. And it turns out this significantly improves the model's capability of using the tool. But without any specific training, but we only asked it to use those tools. So compared to this, it was much weaker in terms of its tool capability and unreliable. I guess. Yes. And to be fair, these are still, I'd say, this is still fairly primitive tool use. If you compare it to, say, the tools that are used at Tesla or SpaceX, where you're using, finite element analysis and computational fluid dynamics, and you're able to run, or say like Tesla does, like crash simulations, where the simulations are so close to reality that if the test doesn't match the simulation, you assume the test article is wrong. That's like the simulations are. So Grok is not currently using any of the tools, the really powerful tools that a company would use, but that is something that we'll provide it with later this year. So we'll have the tools that a company have, and have the very accurate exclusively. I'll put the instruments is will be able to provide the Optimus can actually interact with the figure out its hypothesis and its that hypothesis is true. So we're really, think about like where we are today. We're at the beginning of an immense intelligence explosion. We're in the intelligence Big Bang right now, and we're at the most interesting time to be alive of any time in history. Now that's it. We need to make sure that AI is a good AI, a good prompt. And the thing that I think is most important for AI safety, at least my biological neural net tells me, the most important thing for AI is to be maximally transceiver. So this is very fundamental. You can think of AI as this super genius child that quickly will outsmart you, but you can still install the right values and encourage it to be sort of, truthful, honorable, good things. Like the values you want to instill in a child that will hopefully grow up to be incredibly powerful. So this is really, I'd say, we say tools. These are still primitive tools, not the kind of tools that serious commercial companies use. We will provide these tools and we're going to go into how long it takes. Yes, exactly. So is it just compute all you need? Is it just compute all you need at this point? You need compute plus the right tools.
It's okay.
And then
all you need is love, all you need is compute.
Yes. And then we will effectively have an economy that is, ultimately an economy that is thousands of times bigger than our current economy, or maybe millions of times. I mean, if you think of civilization as percentage completion of the Kardashev scale, where Kardashev 1 is using all the energy output of a planet, and Kardashev 2 is using all the energy output of a sun, and 3 is all the energy output of a galaxy, we're only, in my opinion, probably like closer to 1% of Kardashev 1, then we're up to 10%. So like maybe a point or 1 or 2% of Kardashev 1. So we will get to most of the way, like 80-90% of Kardashev 1, and then hopefully if civilization doesn't self-annihilate, and then Kardashev 2, like it's
Civilization doesn't self-annihilate.
It will seem very quaint in retrospect. It will seem like sort of cavemen throwing sticks into a fire level of economy compared to what the future holds. It's very exciting. I mean, I've been at times kind of worried about, like, well, this seems like it's somewhat unnerving to have intelligence created that is far greater than our own. And will this be bad or good for humanity? It's like I think it will be good, most likely it'll be good. It's hard to reconcile myself to the fact that even if it wasn't going to be good, I'd at least like to be alive to see it happen. So actually, one technical problem that we still need to solve, besides just compute, is how do we unblock the data bottleneck? Because when we try to scale up the I/O, in this case, we did invent a lot of new techniques, innovations to allow us to figure out how to find a lot of challenging problems to work on. It's not just the problem itself needs to be challenging, but also it needs to be, you also need to have like a reliable signal to tell the model you did it wrong, you did it right. So that's sort of the principle of reinforcement learning. And as the model gets smarter and smarter, the number of cool problems or challenging problems will be less and less. So it's going to be a new type of challenge that we need to surpass besides just compute. I mean, we actually are running out of actual test questions to ask. So there's like even ridiculously questions that are really essentially impossible things that are pin-down questions are becoming trivial for AI. So then there's, but the one thing that is an excellent judge of things is reality. So ultimately, everything else is a recommendation. You can't break physics. So the ultimate test I think for an AI the ultimate reasoning test is reality. So the advance of new technologies, like say, the design of a car or a rocket or new medication, and does it work? Does the rocket get to orbit? Does the car drive? Does the medicine work? Whatever the case may be, reality is the ultimate judge here. So it's going to be reinforcement learning closing the loop around reality.
You asked the question, how do we get a little further? So actually, we are thinking about now, with single agent, we're able to solve 40% of the problem. What if we have multiple agents running at the same time? So this is what's called test and compute. And as we scale up the test and compute, actually, we are able to solve almost more than 50% of the text-only subset of the HLE problems. So it's a remarkable achievement, I think.
Yeah, this is insanely difficult. These are so what we're saying is like a majority of the text-based humanities, scarily named humanities last exam, Grok 4 can solve. You can try it out for yourself. And with the Grok 4 Heavy, what it does is it spawns multiple agents in parallel, and all of those agents do work independently, and then they compare their work, and they decide which one, it's like a study group. And it's not as simple as majority vote, because often only one of the agents actually figures out the trick or figures out the solution. And once they share the trick or figure out what the real nature of the problem is, they share that solution with the other agents, and then they essentially compare notes, and then yield an answer. So that's the heavy part of Grok is where you scale up the test time compute by roughly an order of magnitude, have multiple agents tackle the task, and then they compare their work, and they put forward what they think is the best result.
Yeah. So we will introduce Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy. Sorry, can you next slide? Yes. So basically, Grok 4 is the single agent version, and Grok 4 Heavy is the multi-agent. So let's take a look how they actually do those exam problems and also some real life problems.
Yeah. So we're going to start out here. We're actually going to look at one of those HLE problems. This is actually one of the easier math ones. I don't really understand it very well. I'm not that smart, but I can watch this job here and we can actually see how it's going to go for the start to think about this problem. While we're doing that, I also want to show launch a Grok 4 Heavy as well. So everyone knows my market. It's extremely interesting. It's the seeker of truth. It aligns with what reality is most of the time. And with Grok, what we're actually looking at is being able to see how we can try to take these markets and see if we can predict the future as well. So as we're letting this run, we'll see how Grok 4 Heavy goes about predicting the World Series odds for like the current teams and the MLB. And while we're waiting for these to process, we're going to pass it over to Eric, and he's going to show you an example of his.
Yeah, so I guess one of the coolest things about Grok 4 is its ability to understand the world and to solve hard problems by leveraging tools like Tony discussed. And I think one kind of cool example of this, we asked it to generate a visualization of two black holes colliding. Making choice about what these numbers are. For example, in order for it to actually be visible, you need to really exaggerate the scale of the waves. And yeah, so here's this kind of in action. It exaggerates the scale in like multiple ways. Talks about the less transmission, the distance, and but yeah, we can kind of see the basic events that are correct. It starts with in spiral, it merges, and then you have the ring down, and like this is basically largely correct. The simplification that you need to do. It's actually quite explicit about this. It uses like post-Newtonian approximations and actually like computing the general relativistic effects at near the center of the black hole, which is incorrect, and will lead to somewhat incorrect results. But the overall visualization is basically there. And you can actually look at the kinds of resources that it references. So here it actually obviously can start to gather details like reference, but also leads to a undergraduate text in analytic gravitational wave it reasons quite a bit about the actual concepts that it should use for a realistic simulation. It references, I guess, existing real-world data, and it's a pretty good model.
Like actually going forward, we can give it the same model that physicists use. On the same model that some leading physics researchers are using, and then give you a black hole simulation.
Exactly.
Just right now, just making browsers.
Yeah, this is just repeat the browser.
Eso.
Exactly.
Pretty simple.
So, swapping back real quick here, we can actually take a look at how this finished. The model was able to, it's the peak trace here, so you can see the problem. To be honest with you, it's not time to develop very fully understand the math, but what I do know is that I looked at the answer ahead of time, and come to the correct answer here, the final answer here. We can also come back and actually take a look at our series prediction. So we can actually work very heavily on working with all X to rate X experience. So you actually ask, the model, find me the XAI employee that has a graduate profile. So that's going to go off just for that. And you can actually try out, let's create a timeline based on X post detailing the, changes of the scores over time and all the conversation that was taking place at that time as well. So you can see who the, scores and what was the reactions at those times as well. So we'll let that go through here and process, and go back to this was the Greg Yang photo here. So if we scroll through here, whoops. So Greg Yang, of course, who has his favorite photograph that he has on his account. That's actually not how he looks like in real life, by the way. Just so you're aware, but it's quite funny.
But I had to understand that question.
Yeah.
Which is that's the wild part. Is like it understands what is a weird photo. What is a weird photo?
Yeah.
Like, what is a less or more weird photo?
It goes through, has to find all the team members, has to figure out who we all are, and now searches X.
Without access to the internal XAI personnel logs, it's literally looking at just at the internet.
Exactly.
So you could say like the weirdest of any company.
Yeah.
To be clear.
Exactly. And we can also take a look here at the question here for the Humanities Last Exam. So it is still researching all of the historical scores, but it will have that final answer here soon. But we can, while it's finishing up, we can take a look at one of the ones that we set up here a second ago, and we can see, it finds the date that, Dan Hendricks had initially announced it. We can go through, we can see, OpenAI announcing their score back in February. And we can see, as progress happens with Gemini, we can see Kimi, and we can also even see, the leaked benchmarks of what people are saying is, if it's right, it's going to be pretty impressive. So pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how everybody uses these tools and gets the most value out of them. It's been great.
Yeah, and we're going to close the loop around usefulness as well. So it's not just book smart, but actually practically smart.
Exactly. And we can go back to the slides here.
Cool. So we actually evaluate also on the multi-model subset. So on the full set, this is the number on the HLE exam. If you can see, there's a little dip on the numbers.
¿Qué estás haciendo?
Just understanding capability.
Eres tú, Ray. ¿Estás jugando?
In a very short time, we're able to really improve and got much higher numbers on this, even higher numbers.
Si estás jugando.
Yeah, we say what is the biggest weakness of Grok currently is that it's partially blind. It can't. Its image understanding, obviously, in its image generation, needs to be a lot better. And that's actually being trained right now. So Grok 4 is based on version 6 of our foundation model, and we are training version 7, which will complete in a few weeks, and that'll address the weakness on the vision side.
And just to
Si
show
escuchas.
off last year, so the prediction market finished here with a heavy, and we can see here we can see all the tools and the process it used to actually go through
Estás jugando.
the right answer. So
Ahorita te metes a...
sites, it calculated its
O sea, me invitas, te unes si quieres
find its own alpha in it.
jugar. Es que
It walks you through the entire process.
está jugando Blitz.
And it
Pégale.
calculates the odds, the winner being like the Dodgers, and it gives them a 21.6% chance of winning this year. So it took a process approximately 6.5 minutes to compute.
Yeah, that's a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
We can also look at all the other benchmarks besides HLE. As it turned out, Grok 4 excelled on all the reasoning benchmarks that people usually test on, including GPQA, which is a PhD level problem sets. That's easier compared to HLE. On AMY 25, American Invitation Mathematics exam, we with Grok 4 Heavy, we actually got a perfect score. Also on some of the coding benchmark called Live Coding Bench, and also on HMMT, Harvard MIT exam, and also USAMO. You can see actually on all of those benchmarks, we often have a very large lead against the second best model out there.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're going to get to the point where it's going to get every answer right in every exam, and where it doesn't get an answer right, it's going to tell you what's wrong with the question. Or if the question is ambiguous, disambiguate the question into answers A, B, and C, and tell you what answers A, B, and C would be with a disambiguated question. So the only real test then will be reality. Can I make useful technologies? Discover new science? That'll actually be the only thing left, because human tests will simply not be meaningful.
You can make an update to HLE very soon, given the current rate of progress. So yeah, it's super cool to see like multiple agents that collaborate with each other, solving really challenging problems. So we're going to try this model. So it turned out it's available right now. If we advance to the next slide, we're using super Grok Heavy tiers that we're introducing, where you have access to both Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy, where you're actually going to be the taskmaster of a bunch of little Grok research agents to help you, become smarter through all the little research and save hours and times of, going through a mundane tasks. And it's available right now.
Yeah, so we did limit usage during the so didn't bring the demo because all the stuff is happening live, so there's nothing canned about any of the tests that we're doing. So after the demo is done, we'll enable for subscribers for Grok. So if you can't subscribe right now, just try and have an hour chip load. And now let's get into voice. Great.
So many of you have been enjoying our voice mode, and we've been working hard to improve the experience over the past couple months. We have cut latency in half to make it much snappier, and today we're excited to announce a set of new voices that have exceptional naturalness and prosody. You might have noticed the movie trailer voice that opened up the live stream. That is one of our voices, Sal.
Sí, lo sabía.
Deep tone. And we're also excited to introduce Eve, a beautiful British voice who's capable of rich emotion. Aman, would you like to introduce Eve?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get into the demo. Hey Eve, I hear from people are watching us right now. Are you excited?
Thrilled, really. It's like being on stage at the Old Vic with a sea of faces out there. Just it's too real. Chat's about to keep us not entertained.
We have a lot to talk about, but I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little nervous. Can you whisper something?
Just keep quiet.
Let's try this something crazy. So, can you give us an opera on night? Okay, let's try switching it up and just stop singing.
Girl. Oh, silver cat.
Okay, I'm going to try to stay very quick. Yeah, thank you. Getting quite
Cool. So that's Eve. And so something else we do here is a little test each day to check on the flow of our conversations against some of our competitors. So we figured why not try that live on the stream today.
should have started. Okay, I'm gonna say a number, and can you say the same number back to me? 1.
One? Got it. This is like a fun little game of Echo. What's next?
So you said 3.
Good. 3. 4. Nice and steady. What's next?
5.
Hey, nailed it. This is pretty fun. Feel free to keep going or switch it up.
Hey Gronk. Hey Gronk.
Hello there. What can I help you today?
We're going to do a little test. Can you repeat after me? 1,
1. Alright. What's next?
2,
2. What's on your mind?
3,
3. Need anything else?
4,
4. How can I assist you?
5.
5. What's next?
So as you can see, Rock was snappier, didn't interrupt me, and the prosody is we made different design choices. I think we were shooting for something more calm, smooth, more natural, versus something that's more poppy or efficient. So we keep improving. I think that. So the logic that's all. You actually see the 2x faster end-to-end. You can see in the last 8 weeks, 5 different voices, and also 10x the active user. So Grok Voice is taking off. Now, if you think about releasing the models, this time we're also releasing Grok 4 through the API at the same time. So if we go to the next slide, so we're very excited about what all developers are just going to build. So if I think about myself as a developer, what the first thing I'm going to do when I actually have access to the Grok 4 API? Benchmarks. So we actually asked around on the X platform, what is the most challenging benchmarks out there that is considered the holy grail for all the AGI models. So AGI is in the name, Arc AGI. So the last 12 hours, kudos to Greg over here in the audience. So who answered our call, take a preview of the Grok 4 API, and independently verified, the Grok 4's performance. So initially we thought, hey, Grok 4 is just, we think it's pretty good, it's pretty smart. It's our next-gen reasoning model, spend 10x more compute, and can use our tools, right? But turned out, when we actually verified on the private subset of the Arc AGI V2, it was like the only model in the last 3 months that breaks 10% range. The impact was so good that actually get to 16%, well, 15.8% accuracy, 2x of the second place, that is the Cloud 4 Opus model. And it's not just about performance, right? When you think about intelligence, having the API model drive the automation, there's also the intelligence of the dollar, right? If you look at the plots over here, the Grok is just 4 is in the league of its own. Alright, so enough of benchmarks over here, right? So what can Grok do actually in the real world? So we actually contacted the folks from gracious enough to try to Grok in the real world to run a business. Yeah, and thanks for having us. So I'm Axel from Labs, and I'm Lucas, and we just did the tour on Bending Bench. Bending Bench is an AI simulation of a business scenario where we thought what is the most complex prospect. So this scenario, they look at other models, inventory, contract suppliers, set prices. All of these things are super easy, and all the models can do them one by one. But when you do them over very long horizons, most models struggle. But we have a leaderboard, and there's a number 1. Yeah, for it, right? We ran it on the Bending Bench, and we saw some really impressive results. So it ranks the number 1 spots in the network, which is the measure that we have. It's not about the percentage on the score you get, but it's more the dollar value in net worth that you generate. So we were impressed by Grok.
Dame el palo, ¿ah? Eres tú.
Much longer than other models that we have tested, other frontier models. So it managed to run the simulation for double the time, that's for double the net worth. And it was also systems across these runs, which is something that's really important when you want to use this in the real world. And I think as we give more and more power to AI systems in the real world, it's important that we test them in scenarios that either mimic the real world or are in the real world itself. Because otherwise we fly blind into some things that might not be good.
Yeah, it's great to see that we've now got a way to pay for all those GPUs. We just need 1 million vending machines, and we make $4.7 billion a year with 1 million vending machines.
100%. Let's go.
Do we have big vending machines?
Yes. Yes.
All right. We are actually going to install vending machines here. Like a lot of them.
We're happy to supply them.
All right, thank you. All right. Unfortunately, it's
All right. I'll tell the AI.
okay, sounds good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, so you can see like Grok is able to become like a co-pilot of business unit. So what else can Grok do? So we're actually releasing this Grok if you want to try it. Right now, to evaluate with the same benchmark as us, it's on the API. Has 256K contact length. So we already actually see some early adopters try Grok 4 API. So our companies GPT Central. It's one of the use cases like how to automate the research flows with Grok 4. It turned out it performs as a help the scientists to snip through millions of experiments logs and then just like pick that's hypothesis within split seconds. You see this
¡Ay! ¡Ay, no! ¡Ah, no! ¿Quién fue el hijo de puta? Pinche mierda.
In the financial sector, we also see the Grok 4 with access to other tools, real-time information. It's actually one of the more common way as Odoo. So our Grok is also going to be available on hyperscalers. So the XAI sector is only started 2 months ago, and we're open for business. So the other thing we talked a lot about having Grok. Just to recap, so in today's live stream, we introduced the most powerful, most intelligent AI models out there. Like, reason from first principles, using all the tools, do all the research, go on the journey for 10 minutes, come back with the most correct answer for you. So it's kind of crazy to think about, just like 4 months ago, we had Grok 3, and now we're running Grok 4.
And we're going to continue to accelerate as a company. We're going to be the fastest moving AGI companies out there. So what's coming next is that we're going to continue developing the model that's not just intelligent, smart, think for a really long time, spend a lot of compute, but having a model that actually both fast and smart is going to be the core focus, right? So if you think about what are the applications out there that can really benefit from all these very intelligent, fast, and smart models, coding is like one of them.
Yeah, so the team is currently working very heavily on the protocol. I think right now the main focus is we actually train basically a specialized coding model, which is going to be both fast and smart. And I believe we can share with that models. You can also help you just
Probably this year, and if not this year, certainly next year. So that's going to be wild. I would expect the first really good AI video game to be next year. Probably the first half-hour watchable TV this year, or the first watchable AI movie next year. Like, things are really moving at incredible pace.
yeah, Rocket's 10x in what we call the vending machines.
Yeah, I mean, we're not to what you're saying here, and from very a year ago to making a sort of a 3D video game with a few hours of content.
I mean, yeah, just to recap, so in today's live stream, we introduced the most powerful, most intelligent AI models out there that can actually reason from the first principle using all the tools, do all the research, go on the journey for 10 minutes, come back with the most correct answer for you. So it's kind of crazy to think about, just like 4 months ago, we had Grok 3, and now we're looking at Grok 4. And we're going to continue to accelerate this companies, yeah, one of the fastest moving AGI companies out there. So what's coming next is that we're going to continue developing the model that's not just intelligent, smart, think for a really long time, spend a lot of compute, but having a model that actually goes fast and smart is going to be the core focus. So if you think about what are the applications out there that can really benefit from all these very intelligent, fast, and smart models, coding is going to be one of them. Yeah, so Ting is currently working very heavily on the protocol. I think right now the main focus is we actually train basically a specialized coding model, which is going to be both fast and smart. And I believe we can share with that model with all of you and that's very exciting. And then the second after coding is we'll see this of Grok 4 is the multimodal capability. So in fact, it was so bad that Grok effectively just
Lo que está dando.
and like all the blurry,
Woohoo, mi favorita.
the most we're going to see with the next generation prediction model is that we're going to see a step function improvement on the model's capability in terms of English understanding, visual understanding, all those capabilities. Now, all the capabilities you see growth just like many of you, right? And now, with all the tools, as command, with all the other agents, they can talk to you. So, inventory on the X platform, not only can actually watch these generate videos, but able to intervene for you on adventures.
Yeah, wow. I would be training a video model with it's and in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be pretty spectacular video generation and
Well, we're very excited for you guys to try Grok 4.
all right, next one.
No mames. ¿Qué está haciendo, baboso? Ay, mi. Deje ir.
hecho ninguna cosa de las chascos. Ajá, tengo aquí sus amigos son 2, 4, 6 amigos, todos en una sola misma para ella. Y para uno. Sí, la ¿verdad? Es un amigo mío, básicamente tengo un equipo de videojuegos. Y fuimos a Guadalajara para dar talleres de universidad que hacer. Broma, y como de quiero ver hasta casi como en principio, pero nunca como ay, mi santo Jesucristo. ¿Qué significa esto? No, todo lo que me puede explicar, por favor. ¿Qué estamos practicando? ¿Qué? ¿A ti te una otra? ¿Por qué te sobras una pelota?
Mucho.
Naturalmente hablan alto, que hablen menos o que hablen más bajito, porque es como una falta de respeto, porque es su carácter, porque es su personalidad, porque es su estilo de las
O sea, sí, pero.
¿Cómo que?
Cosas.
Como que, perdón.
Pues así, pues la gente por pensar eso. Y qué bueno.
No te imaginas también que huevo estar pendiente de lo que la gente piense de ti, o sea, estar diciendo, ay, no quiero ver así, no quiero estar así, no quiero ver así, no quiero ser no quiero decir así, por lo que pueda pensar la gente. También se puede pensar muchas cosas y puede emitir un juicio de valor sobre el papel. Porque tenía un nombre transexual en el presentación. O porque tiene unas medias largas. ¿Ves? Todos tenemos un montón de cosas que podrían tomarse como mal, como extrañas, como raras, ante otro punto de vista. Por eso, antes de ver qué tiene el otro, tienes que ver lo que tú tienes. Pero bueno, son una pareja que hablas tú.
Es una loca, pendejo. Todo bien, vamos a ver qué sencillo. Ok, secta de Lord Shai.
realmente no lo sé. Sí, está ¿cómo estás? Sí. ¿Dónde está, verdad? Ay, es el chico ok, ¿no? Parece que todo bien. Sí, muchas conversaciones, pero aparentemente todo es por trabajo, y fotografías, todo bien, vamos a ver si vamos a ver con familia. ¿Quién es? Mi prima, le comparto su número de ah, es mi preferida, ¿sabes? Ah, sí, pues yo estoy con mi papá. Soy yo. Tu amiga, tu mamá. Tengo, sí, hermosa. El icono, el icono, no, solo tiene que venir, a ver, son Victoria Real, donde pasar, ahí. ¿Cómo te llamas? Celosa, ¿verdad? ¿Cuál es tu pregunta celosa? Cuéntanos. Tiene que ver con saber tu valor, ¿no? Y algo para estar porque pues cada quien tiene su figura. Entonces yo confío en que pues yo conozco desde hace mucho tiempo porque sería un ridículo que me fuera infiel, ¿no? ¿Eh? Mi tía.
Era pura cura
Ajá.
era pura cura.
De familia. Y preocupada de que pero había yo digo, no, era como de que en Puerto donde yo no me gustaba, ¿no? O sea, ahí puedo.
No, pero o sea, tú no sabías que
No, pero bueno, amigos, así no te prácticamente no teníamos los ideales. Y pues estaba pensando que sí, dando una vuelta, ¿sabes? Porque entiendo los niños como que necesitan ser musicales porque todos eran hombres. Hay cosas. Y no es que no sea de que participar, yo no sé cómo tú pero aún así, si no hago nada, sí, siempre me guardo pues digo. Sí, es como de miedo de que o sea, verme, ya como verme a los ojos. No, o sea, mira, ¿qué? A ver, ¿por qué? Verte sería como verte a los ojos. Sí. Pero, ¿en cuánto tiempo no te quiero? La 14 de noviembre. Ah, bueno. Sí, porque ya como menos ¿quieres ver? Eso está bien linda. Ah, bueno, ahí. Ya me sacó, está muy linda. Sí, ya le doy más. A ver qué pasa. 24 a 1 kilómetro de distancia.
no, pues o sea, ella sabe que hay siempre es el nombres. Pero yo ya no
¿Cómo andas hoy?
o sea, pero tú sabes por eso.
Alberto, Alex Alejandro, Cali, Ignacio.
Y él sí.
¿Qué? ¿No? O sea, yo sé que tú puedes. O sea,
Sí, pero lo mismo. O sea, casi siempre pues va estaba aquí es más como de conversar de conocer
pues, oye, todo eso.
sabes cómo tratar eso.
O sea, ¿por qué? O sea, ¿por qué? Espérate, no. Es mi segunda
Está bien de tratar de digamos que se tenga relación, nada más que jugar a la no, pero o sea, cuando no era tu relación, así te trataba.
porque estaba haciendo aburrido. Y no, o sea, por eso hice dormir, por eso yo estaba bien, pero porque como tengo la vida, el amor depende mucho de nosotros o de tu marido. La verdad, ella. Y el edificio pensaba en nosotros en aquellos años en que estábamos muy bien. Aún recuerdo cuando íbamos al parque a jugar. Tiempos difíciles, pero también llenos de tanto amor. Porque tal vez era un tanto nostalgia, pero tú crees que éramos las personas correctas el uno para el otro. ¿Cierto? Eres la mejor. ¿Eso por qué? ¿A qué se debe eso?
Pues, o sea, no era tan en serio, ¿sabes?
¿Por qué no? O sea, fue hace poco, ¿no? Pero tú sabes, el tiempo, la madurez, entonces, ¿sabes? Las personas correctas, pero no en el tiempo correcto. Aunque ya pasaron casi 4 años, yo siempre tengo una muchísima también. El primero mucho más guapo, jaja. No sé, así no me pasa la vida.
La mami. ¿Cómo te va en el amor? ¿Estás con él? ¿No? ¿Parece en serio te gusta? Pues... ¿Qué significa? Es agradable, yo sabes que es en loquilla, pero pues tenía mucho tiempo pretendiéndome, estaba casi rogándome, así que accedí a darle ¿quién le da más que yo? Pero ¿cómo te sientes? ¿Eres feliz? ¿La amas? Después de ti, no he podido amar a nadie más.
Ya,
Quiero. Y la verdad, sí, pues sí le doy.
No.
Y ya, buen chido, pero nada se compara a lo que tenía nosotros. Nunca me cayó bien, ridícula, escandalosa y rara. Por eso siempre se quedan sin amigos tarde o temprano. Es que eso es por su auto.
es que siempre te salió una frase escandalosa. Por eso te digo de que cuando van a no sé, pero
La verdad.
Confirmado, pero pues se nota, ¿no? A ver, arriba por alto largo. Pero chingue,
siempre así eso, particularmente llorando.
al siguiente no existe que haga ganando la B, porque aún si crees que es importante. Pero yo no quiero su papá la sigue. Patética el amor, la verdad. ¿Tienes conmigo o qué? No, sí, porque no confío nomás en que yo junto con ella, porque yo siempre estoy en la por la noche. Y casi que te supe.
No, pues no sé, porque no venía aquí, pero yo no quería que más o menos.
Toma, perro. Aguanta la cacha. Súmate, pendejo. Son of a bitch. No, le queda toda la salud, sí, hijo de su puta madre.
No es eso.
Es agradable, ya sabes que soy loquilla, pero pues tenía mucho tiempo pretendiéndome, estaba casi rogándome, así que accedí a darle una oportunidad. ¿A quién le da pan que llore? Pero ¿cómo te sientes? ¿Eres feliz? ¿La amas? Después de ti, no he podido amar a nadie más.
Ya,
Te quiero.
no.
Y la neta, el chile fue chile, no. Y ya fue chido, pero nada se compara a lo que teníamos.
Ya vas empezando ya.
Lo que te cayó bien, ridícula, escandalosa y rara. Por eso siempre se queda sin amigos tarde o temprano.
La otra vez también
Es que eso es por su auto.
no tengo chismo. Es que siempre que salimos siempre andas escandalosa. Por eso te digo de que contrólate y parece que ya no, pero pues no sé, pero no.
Ay, no está preocupado, pero pues se nota. Así me paró por largo, pero estaba chingue y chingue, pues al siguiente me chiste que haga la mano a la vez, porque otros es comediante. Su papá la para que no la verdad. ¿A su cumpleaños? Si quieres, por favor, que le mando un abrazo. Por favor. Ay, yo no sé cómo estaba, pero... Al siguiente me chiste que haga la mando a la vez, porque ahora sí que eres comediante. Pero yo creo que tus papás. Padre, no, sí. Vas a ver,
Ah, no soy tan bueno. ¿Soy yo?
Pero estaba chingui chingue, pues
siempre hace eso, siempre hace eso, manipula gente llorando.
El siguiente mal chiste que haga la mando a la vez, porque ahora se cree que comediante. Pero yo creo que ni su papá la sigue. Patética la morra, la verdad. ¿Y te vienes conmigo o qué? No, sí, por mí me voy ahorita contigo, nomás que me
Bueno,
con ella.
estoy leyendo
Me dice
ya,
que esto
Marina.
me queda por ahí. Porque está llorando, si no tiene que hacer que te suba.
No, pues no sé, no quería venir aquí.
¿A su cumpleaños?
Pues estábamos festejando hay que ignorar eso, ya no no están así, te está metiendo ideas. Pero me estás metiendo ideas, yo sé que te gusta.
Ay, ya, por favor. Ay, no, todos por eso. No, mira, qué patético, no te dejas ser tú misma, te burlas de mí. Dice que eres mal. Estuve mucho tiempo con ella. No te vienes, por favor. Ay, no, no llega igual a llorar, uno sana, uno vive con su corazón. La verdad, mira, yo sí creo que le estás pasando mala vida, pero lo mejor que te pudo haber pasado era deshacerte de ese hombre. Sí, amigo, no vale la pena, estás joven, eres bonita, tienes tus proyectos, tienes tu visión. Y pues sí, no está tu vida, o sea, yo no necesito la verdad, oye, no te dejes ni siquiera ser tú misma. ¿Qué tipo de relación o qué tipo de vida vas a tener con una persona así? No sé, yo pensaba que lo hacía para hacerme mejorar como persona. Porque es cierto que la gente me ve raro. X, la gente siempre va a estar inconforme, la gente no te va a pagar renta, la gente no te va a dar de comer. X, la gente siempre va a pensar y puede pensar lo que ellos quieran. Eso no tiene nada que ver. Además, imagínate qué horror esa vida con tu vida pendiente de lo que va a pensar la gente. Vas a ser infeliz toda tu vida, la vida es tuya. Y tú la vas a vivir única, como tú quieras, como tú seas feliz, como a ti te nace, como tú lo sientas, sin estar cuidando, sin estar vigilando, que como que ven. No, tú eres auténtica y eso vale mucho más que ser una carrera con cualquiera, porque hay un montón de chicas que son iguales, chicos que son iguales. Estoy llorando, lo siento. Eres muy joven, todavía no se conocen tanto, te vas a enamorar un montón. De verdad. Aunque ahorita me gusta your name y que no hay salida, te prometo que vas a salir de ahí. Y no eres fácil, y aunque no tuvieras amigos al final, sigue, cumple tus sueños, preocúpate de ti, de verdad. Y creo que sí me puede servir entonces. Sí, amiga, de verdad, yo sé lo que te digo. Y si no, me mandas un mensaje y me dices, no, digo que te. Ya, gracias. No, va a estar bien, amiga. Necesitaba escuchar eso. Porque muy bien, amiga, de verdad te lo prometo. O sea, tenías un lastre, un escorpión ahí en tu espalda, ya te lo quité. Nos lo quitamos. Ahora sí, vive tu vida, disfruta, sigue con tus proyectos. Sé tú misma, amiga, y no permitas que nadie te diga qué hacer o cómo hacerlo. Muy bien, voy a... Sí, sí. Ok, voy a seguir trabajando. Pero que mis sueños son trabajando contigo. Nos vemos. Ay, amigo, no, de verdad. De manera, vamos a idealizar a alguien, a pensar que es correcta, que no nos conviene. ¿Sabes qué es lo más triste? Que a veces nosotros nos sentimos protegidos, nos sentimos seguros, pero hay cosas que son todo menos culpables ahora. Son las personas que nos quieren, son las personas que nos más las personas que nos quieren. El amor es una verdad, es lo mismo nosotros cuando uno ama, no duele con la persona, no le digo perfecto, es perfecto. Y pues bueno, esa es la magia del amor, pero el amor pasa. Y pues así no te quiero compartir esta vida con alguien. A la que queremos, la persona que la queremos, que no necesita con nosotros. Tienes que ver tu pareja, tienes que ver a tus hijos, ya que está la estrategia de descanso. Esto es nada, es siempre pero bueno, como si fuese que llena algo de lo que nos sigue de complicados, pero bueno, por favor, y no se olviden la decepciones amorosas que nos vamos a ahorrar. O ustedes, ¿qué dirían si estuvieran con nosotros una de las personas que entrevistamos el día de hoy?
¡No mames! Le traje todo al pendejo. Mira nada más cómo lo odian. ¡Ay, ahí!
My name is Hector Mendoza, and we're at Cañón del Padre. This is the colony where we live at.
Where are you from?
California. Yeah, in Santa Ana, Orange County. I grew up there 30 years, and I was just recently deported. So
Yeah.
now I live here. So it's quite the change from there to here.
So how old were you when you immigrated to the U.S.?
I was 6 months old. I didn't find out I was undocumented until I was 17.
You didn't even realize that you had came over illegally your entire life?
No, I never knew. I don't believe it's something you would ask your parents or parents would bring up to you.
How'd you find out?
I applied for a drug test. Yeah, my social security. I went.
What's your parents?
So, most of our houses are built basically sidewalk. Yeah.
How many people do you think that?
Most of them, yeah, there's a lot of people that are getting deported.
President Donald Trump is directing ICE to expand deportations.
Even on to say the Democrats have used an achievement election to expand their influence.
Sí, sí, es la misma canción ahí. Y es Spooky también. Can you give us a little tour?
Yeah, I've been outside and hang out. So on that side, but everything will be here. My little walkway and my bathroom's in here, but somebody's really I'm much proud of my bathroom. And that's it. It's a mess. Yeah, a lot of junk.
What's the biggest challenge about living here?
I don't know, between security and honestly, just water and electricity. Sometimes you just have no light.
When you say security with me?
Well, yeah, it's dangerous to myself.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, yeah, it's really dangerous to myself. It's like,
So far this year, more than 1,700 people have been murdered in the city of Tijuana.
across the street, across the street, across the Manhattan, it's up back to Michigan. Got shot at. I'm pretty sure it's called actually. Yeah.
You told me that one organization. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to dig into it. Not try to be
Actually, I got it for my school that I bought, which was, I thought was legit, but it's on it. Yeah, with that, $4,000. No, I bought it up to the
So you walked past the dude and he had a bike to sell.
he was off the right sell, and my brother was on the ride. I got arrested. I didn't yeah, the same day I got arrested. Yeah.
Were you caught out like a better way?
Okay, well, that was, I was arrested at the then I began dictionary, and I was found with
The Department of Justice is issuing a directive now aimed at naturalized citizens who
Especially concerns and some fears.
I mean, they moved their returns, they got returns. They're still there, yeah.
Talk to them often.
Every day.
Did you ever think about hopping aboard that?
Illegally, no. Legally, if I could, that's the first thing I shoot for, but I applied for withholding before, which is asylum, based on my social party with the LGBT community. So I'm gonna stay here for a while. I hope to. It's my parents. Mario, if one time we sabe por qué.
Amazon just opened its newest distribution center in Mexico.
This fulfillment center is bringing hundreds of jobs to Tijuana and is expected to shorten the delivery time throughout the northwest region of the country.
Let's back up a bit. Let's talk about Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, in a slum called Cardboard, what translates Cartolandia in Spanish. It's cardboard land.
Its house is made out of wood that people don't pay rent. We need it, but you know what's that?
A lot of people here currently work for Amazon or used to work for Amazon.
Mi hermano y cuñado, no sé exactamente qué realizan, pero están metidos trabajan de noche.
Others were recently deported from the U.S. as a result of ICE raids and deportations. And a lot of people just live here because it's the cheapest place in town to get a decent apartment for under $0. You actually don't have to pay any money to live here, but you do have to put up the money to build the house that you want to live in. So if you can invest in hammers, nails, tires, mattresses, raw materials, build the house yourself, no rent. But if you want to figure out how to put AC, gas, and water into your house, it's a different story. By the way, if you want to watch the Spanish language channel, we have not only most of the videos, but also different content filmed in Latin America with myself, Andrea Chaparro, Australia, covering the ongoing ban on corridos, which is one of the popular music that's impacting
Yo opino que tenemos que fomentar la libertad de expresión. Yo soy productor de electrocorridos y de corridos. Está chido, puro bibicona, bueno. Corridos son ya parte de México.
Pues diré aquí escuchamos lo que trae la sangre de los corridos de norteño.
We also went to Tepito Market in Mexico City. We're covering a few other things too, so if you want to check that out, head to Canal 5. I'm going to put the link in the pinned comment and description box of this video. Alright, back to the topic at hand, Cartolandia. While the area is currently in the spotlight due to its population of deportees and Amazon employees, the makeshift walls of these homes tell a story far deeper than what meets the naked eye.
Esto tiene años, hasta más de 40, 50 años tiene, nomás porque estaba rodeada de árboles.
This man, named Luis, now in his late 30s, is from the first native-born generation of Andes in the city. To the rural parts of Mexico to find work in the city in the 1950s. To understand why Cartolandia was built in the first place, you have to first understand the post-war America. 6 years after the end of World War II, America was wealthy than ever. Right, here we go. So in the U.S., the post-war formation of the 80s and 50s was typically thought of as a bridge of prosperity, especially for the veterans who went back to Japan, Europe, and stuff. And GI, like cheap subsidized mortgages, homes, herbs, free college, monthly checks in the mail, and more. But the post-war era in America was also the beginning of American manufacturing's death spiral. It has a slowly detailed reality. 97% of clothing and electronics are imported from factories and sweatshops in developing nations like China, India, and Vietnam. This spiral
jobs were made possible by corporate executives who at one point sought to yield a higher profit margin at the expense of American jobs. And here's how they did it. You see, back in the day in 1944, right after the war ended, there was a secret meeting in New Hampshire called the Bretton Woods Conference, where delegates from 44 different allied nations all met up to create something called the IMF, International Monetary Fund, aka the bank, which set the U.S. dollar as the official global currency. Number one, printed right there in Philadelphia. This in turn gave us the magical ability to decide how much of the money. And if you've ever been to a foreign country and asked yourself how the heck it costs you 100,000 of their dollars to get coffee in the morning, here's why. The U.S. artificially devalued the currency in dozens of countries with modified exchange rates under the standard before, whereafter American business titans frantically built factories in the country with the lowest dollar in order to pay people in these countries as little as possible for labor and raw materials. This process is called economic globalization. It's the reason for which it becomes popular, as it forces formerly self-sufficient, non-capital obsessed countries to industrialize, yet never have the opportunity to evolve into anything more than glorified factory cities or amusement park countries for more powerful nations than the US. This was especially true in Mexico in the 1980s. Unlike today, where border cities like Tijuana and Ciudad Juarez are among the country's most populous, border towns were non-existent back then. Perspective, in 1930, Mexico City was home to 1.1 million people. Tijuana had less than 9,000 people. But shortly after tanking the peso back in 1944, American companies began to build a steel factory and assembly as close to home as possible, which meant across the border from San Diego to Tijuana.
Tijuana es una ciudad que atrae mucha inversión extranjera porque somos frontera con San Diego, con California, que es la quinta economía mundial. Y aquí alrededor también cerca está una garita, un cruce fronterizo, un crucero online, que muchos de los cruceros quieren estar cerca de la garita del baño para que una vez
cars outside this factory streets, but others, particularly those who go to Denver, parking lot and enter to distribution of the site. 2 miles away today, it's initially only home to a couple hundred workers, the area continued to explode in population as American factories continued to be built. By 1968, 25,000. That's right, entire Taylor Swift by a SIM card. Honestly, I wish I could let this go. Naturally, I did the most non-silly user I spent a 55-minute line behind 200 other people in some critical plastic Wi-Fi with my backpack during live stream it up. Like I said, once I powered the smartphone, live streaming was impossible. Even sent a single photo without my phone glitching out, shutting down. Eventually, I gave up and turned on roaming. When I got home, T-Mobile billed resembled 10% down payment for $2,200 Unbelievable. But if I'd have had Saley, it never would have happened. Really, it's so simple to use. Just download the app, pick a country, any country, virtually install your eSIM, and boom, get connected. No shoddy hardware, no buyers, fast, run by mysterious foreign actors who only accept cash. Just fast, affordable data that actually works for unlimited global plans. Thankfully, it works on both iPhone and Android. After you install the eSIM, they even let you know before you run out of data, like some sort of digital charge. And if you have something weird, don't worry. 99% of the dollars that's all just fine. Guess what? I got you a discount. Just need to go to Channel 5 and all caps. Channel 5 check out instant 15% off. Thankfully, you save for paying international data. What are you waiting for? Time to get sale. QR code right. Channel 5 and check out. Stay connected. Stay safe. Alright, now back to Wanya and exploring the One morning in 1972, Baja California cops came in guns blazing and forced the entire community of Cardolandia to disperse that same day, bulldozing the entire area. While the Baja state government saw this forced eviction end all be all, they were dead wrong. Like in the case of most homeless groups in the States, they just kind of kick people around and expect them to figure out life somewhere else. Cardolandians simply migrated to a new hub just blocks away from where Fuzz was given a guff, specifically at a strip of land which was classified as undesignated federal territory.
Recordemos que estos terrenos no son propiedad privada, son federales. Entonces, ¿quién es el dueño del terreno federal? Es CONAGUA, la Comisión Nacional del Agua. Pero la Comisión Nacional del Agua no tiene la estructura, ni el aparato, al menos ni la intención de venir a sacar a la gente. ¿Cómo lo va a hacer?
So that same year, Cardolandia 2.0 was renamed Nueva Esperanza, Spanish for New Hope. While visually the second settlement looked almost identical to the first, the demographic was quite different. Think less vibrant factory village like parts of Mexico and more fresh deportees recently expelled from the U.S. And also, no money. As I mentioned, Cardolandia is free if you can build your own house. And many deported people did, the first of whom were deported in and around 1986 after Reagan passed the Immigration Reform and Control Act, bringing forth a new era of border militarization of the slave trade. This led to multiple decades of unprecedented mass deportations under Clinton, Bush, and especially Obama administration. Many older Cardolandia residents today are products of those eras.
Cuando usted tenía como edad al contar los 25, ya yo voy a casi casi 14 años, y en parte los hijos allá
often seen homes, businesses, daycares.
Fear sparked by mass deportations, targeted workplace ice raids, and random stops, driving people into hiding and keeping them away from everyday life.
Yo tengo trabajo, yo tengo mucha familia acá, ya voy al día nada más, o sea, ya no
Despite its rugged look, it was actually a decent amount of infrastructure in the area, which is something the residents repeatedly emphasized to the commuters. To be honest, their setup was a small electrical setup, wire circuit, light bulbs, water filtration system for all recreation. There's also a church, 2 stores, and a free elementary school for special needs children. Still, it goes without saying the conditions there are quite rough, particularly in regards to the lack of plumbing, AC, and some say the invisible police responsible. You won't have neighbors that try to break into your house and steal one of your public bags.
I wouldn't put much of a fight, but I think about that.
If you tried to call the police.
Yeah. They would probably come out tomorrow. They'll probably come out like over the months.
However, many residents thought this would all have changed back in 2021. Amazon opened up its brand new fulfillment center right next door, promising to bring positive change to the neighborhood.
It was planned by the community, and Amazon said they were going to help build better houses with material, cement, and
What did happen is that some
la mayoría estamos aquí en sí, la verdad sí, a nosotros que nos convocó muchísimo. Porque con este dinero que paga la Amazon, pues salen adelante la gente que trabaja. Como yo, porque la vida desde el comienzo.
Working for a flat screen in the same business park at the Amazon fulfillment center. In addition to health insurance and unemployment money, we're also getting paid 52 weeks of an hour for only $1.85 in the US and still significantly above Mexico.
Pero le estoy a favor, porque no está trabajo. Él está como mexicano, ellos estaban buscando su trabajo en el gobierno del que hay. Veremos que quieren hacer aquí los transportes de
However, despite the positive sentiment about Amazon among its residents, the controversy caused by really a single photo changed the game forever. That photo in the warehouse looking behind the slum, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, eyes by the national press, making its way into the collective conscience of American progressives.
This news is from by viewers like you.
The almost large cardboard boxes. This bad PR, some fear, caused Amazon's first turn local, and then local shops were after.
No hay movimiento. Sí, porque estaba haciendo muy viral. Sí, estaba haciendo muy viral que Amazon se puso en un lugar, pero siempre están en las fotos donde están las casitas en la calle. Es como si yo fuera en la zona centro y tomo una foto donde están las casitas de, no sé, los que están donde están los migrantes. Y digo, esto es zona centro. O sea, no sé si sea por
Despite the absence of Amazon, residents have their own ways of making money. Mira, somebody could probably say I'm saying like that professionally.
Yeah, like we're therapist of disability and kids with Alzheimer's or certain things like that.
I think everybody should do therapy.
Yes, I think it's important. I get called and they ask me about my
Yeah. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. Anything you want to say to the people?
Well, keep out, look out for the next video.
tengo que hacer. Oh, oh. Al fin. Jódete la neta. Qué filósofo.
Visita tu club más cercano y encuentra los mejores ahorros. Te esperamos en Amalek. Hay que acabar con él. Totalmente. Mejor resucitar. Eso es muy importante. Los jugadores compiten demasiado estrechamente. Ya hay que tener mucho cuidado. Entonces, hoy incluso yo manejo el término de superfuegos. Usted lo sabe, cuando hay dos fuegos distantes que se van acercando uno del otro, creando un superfuego. Y hoy tenemos la variación. Tenemos el grano que está prácticamente desintegrado. Parece que hay un fuego. Entonces, hoy hablando de los huele, se habla demasiado rojo, loco, caña, pero no puedo. Sabe que está haciendo una decisión. Esa gente está trabajando la de Israel con el acuerdo de Estados Unidos al final que se suma porque estaba siendo familiar de Israel Irán eso fue pero vemos que la excelencia allá son tan peligrosos además balcanizaciones que no se atreven a decir su nombre, donde Israel ha jugado con los puntos de la usan los estando mirando las datos. Entonces, estamos hablando de esos años que empiezan a necesitar precisamente eso. Yo creo una de dos cosas. Si es claro, si es un caso de cambió ya la configuración del medio radicalmente. Nadie pensaba en eso. Mal llamados son que lanzaban la nada de soldados lanzaban datos en las que vienen de países locales desde el barrio de ¿no? Y es el país más pobre pero lanzando las especies de sonidos que ya cerraron las zonas, ya cerraron la entonces yo creo que el primer frente mexicano que había creado el código Soleimán nace en Soleimán, lo manda y además Italia en una misión de paz. Ahora, lo matan al Ángeles famoso, era combatiente, era opositor a Estados Unidos. Y hoy tenemos que el gobierno es una persona de Al Qaeda. Todavía no le quitan los 10 millones de dólares por Estados Unidos para darse una vez. Entonces, y además se llama Rolani. Va a dar porque se le cola no es el programa entonces ya eso los amigos y no está resuelto lo que va a que matar a los refugiados y a la huida a los dos, a la huida y no se diga a los kurdos cuando los encuentran y hay otras también sectas pequeñas de las que desgraciadamente a veces la historia los borra del mapa. Entonces, sí tenemos una reconfiguración que va a pasar con Siria, no se ha decidido. Eso no se ha decidido. Ya está ahorita golpeando la región, está molesta. Pero yo creo que eso yo diría a nivel micro. Si nos metemos a lo micro, creo que no acabaríamos. Yo diría más a nivel macro. Sí es importante una nueva reconfiguración que se está dando. Antes no venían en el mapa. ¿Cuál es el cisne negro que está viendo? Cuando dice Pakistán, cuando Israel es apoyado, es